I should have known something was wrong the moment she smiled that night, that practiced, too perfect smile that never reached her eyes. My name's Lucas, 32, and I thought I was about to marry the love of my life. After 3 years together and 8 months engaged, our wedding was supposed to be next month. 150 guests, fancy venue, live band, the whole thing. I thought everything was falling into place. Turns out, it was about to fall apart in the most public way imaginable. It all started over dinner. We were at our favorite Italian place, the one with dim lights and too much wine. Emily was pushing her food around, acting distracted. I thought she was nervous about the wedding. I wish that's all it had been. She set down her fork and said it like she was asking for salt. I invited Ryan to the wedding. I almost choked on my pasta. Ryan? Your ex-Ryan. She smiled like she just told me she bought new curtains. Yeah, we're still friends. It would be weird not to invite him. I blinked. You invited your ex-boyfriend, the one you dated for 4 years, the one you almost married, to our wedding? Her tone hardened. Lucas, if you love me, you'd understand. It shows maturity. We're adults. Adults. That's what she called it. Having your ex-boyfriend watch you say your vows to another man. Ryan's happily married now, she added quickly. His wife couldn't make it because she's visiting family overseas. It's not a big deal. Something about the way she said overseas set off alarm bells in my head. It was too fast, too clean, too rehearsed. What's his wife's name again? I asked, pretending to be casual. Emily blinked, her lashes fluttering. Rebecca. Why? Just curious. She shifted, defensive. You've met her. Of course you have. Right, I said with a smile. Silly me. That night, she kissed me goodnight like nothing was wrong. I stayed awake staring at the ceiling, my gut twisting. That's when I decided to check. Ryan wasn't hard to find online. A few scrolls later, I found his profile, smiling with a woman tagged in dozens of photos. Her name wasn't Rebecca. It was Sarah, and according to her bio, she was a dental hygienist who worked 20 minutes from our venue, not overseas, not even out of town. I felt my stomach drop. Over the weekend, I dug deeper. Emily had left her iPad at my place, still logged into messages. I know, invasion of privacy. But when your fiancé lies about her ex's wife and invites him to your wedding, you start needing answers. What I found made my blood run cold. There were messages between her and Ryan, casual at first, but then too friendly, reminiscing, inside jokes. Remember that trip to the lake house? Then Ryan. Shame it didn't work out between us. Emily. Timing is everything. I closed the iPad and sat there for a long time, staring into space. The next morning, I made a decision that would change everything. I found Sarah's social media and sent her a message from my real account. No burner, no games. Just honesty. Hi, Sarah. You don't know me, but I'm engaged to Emily. We're getting married next month. She's invited your husband, Ryan, to the wedding and told me you couldn't come because you're overseas. I see you're local, so I want to personally invite you as my guest. The reception is at Riverside Manor on the 15th. She responded within an hour. Overseas? That's interesting since I'm sitting in my office right now. Ryan told me he had a work conference that weekend. Thank you for letting me know. I'll definitely be there. That's when I knew this wasn't just a misunderstanding. It was a setup. The week after, the air between Emily and me was tense. She was chirping about flowers and seating charts like nothing was wrong. She mentioned casually that Ryan would be at table 3, near my friends. Why table 3? I asked. Well, he won't know anyone else, she said lightly. It would be awkward to sit him with strangers. I pretended to think. How about table 7? With your cousins? She frowned. No, that's too far from... She stopped mid-sentence. I mean, table 3 is fine. Too far from what? I thought. Too far from you? Meanwhile, Sarah and I were exchanging messages. She'd suspected something for months. Ryan working late, hiding his phone, suddenly into fitness. Classic signs. When I told her about the messages I'd seen, she went silent for a while. Then she texted, "That manipulative witch and my pathetic husband, they deserve each other." That's when she proposed the idea. "Let me come to the rehearsal dinner as your plus one." I grinned. "You serious? 3 years of marriage, and he's sneaking around with his ex." "Oh, I'm dead serious." 3 days before the rehearsal dinner, Emily and I were reviewing the guest list. "So," she said, "it's just family in the wedding party, right?" "Yeah," I said. She smiled sweetly. "And Ryan, I invited him to the rehearsal dinner too." I almost laughed out loud. "Why?" "Well, he's coming from out of state," she said, lying through her teeth. "I thought it would be nice." "Very thoughtful of you," I said, hiding my grin. The day of the rehearsal dinner, I told Emily I had to pick up a friend who'd broken down on the side of the road. She was annoyed but waved me off. I picked up Sarah from her car outside a cafe. She looked stunning, black dress, hair up, calm but dangerous. "You ready?" I asked. She smiled. "Let's ruin a couple of liars." We arrived 40 minutes late. The restaurant was buzzing, full of laughter and wine glasses. 30 people, family, friends, wedding party. Emily sat at the head table, laughing at something Ryan had said. Her face lit up when she saw me. "There you are." We were getting war. Then she saw Sarah behind me. Her voice died in her throat. The room fell silent. Ryan went pale, actually pale like a ghost. "Hi, honey," Sarah said sweetly. Surprise. My trip got canceled. Forks froze midair. Every head turned. "Sarah?" Emily stammered. "I thought you were overseas." Sarah tilted her head. "That's what Ryan told me too, about his work conference this weekend." Imagine my surprise when Lucas invited me instead. I stepped forward. "Everyone, this is Sarah, Ryan's wife. She'll be joining us tonight since Emily was so insistent on including Ryan in our wedding celebrations." My mom, bless her, immediately caught on. "Sarah, how lovely to meet you. Come sit by me." Emily's face was white. Ryan looked ready to crawl under the table. Dinner began. Barely. The air was so tense it could have cut glass. Sarah sat across from Emily, smiling politely like a lion in pearls. Emily tried to make small talk. "So, Sarah, how long have you and Ryan been married?" 3 years, Sarah said, sipping her wine. "Though apparently I should ask you how long you've been texting my husband." Silverware clinked. Someone coughed. "We're just friends," Emily blurted. Sarah raised an eyebrow and pulled out her phone. "Friends who text at midnight? Friends who send shirtless selfies? Should I read them out loud?" Ryan muttered, "Sarah, please, not here." "Not here?" she laughed. "Where then? At your fake work conference? Or maybe during one of your client dinners that Emily somehow always knew about?" A groomsman whispered. Holy hell, loud enough for everyone to hear. Emily turned to me, her eyes watering. "Lucas, this is a misunderstanding." "Is it?" I said. "Is that why you lied about Sarah being overseas? Why you put Ryan at table 3? Why you invited him to the rehearsal dinner?" Her voice died in her throat. The room fell silent. Ryan went pale, actually pale like a ghost. "Hi, honey," Sarah said sweetly. Surprise. My trip got canceled. Forks froze midair. Every head turned. "Sarah?" Emily stammered. "I thought you were overseas." Sarah tilted her head. "That's what Ryan told me too, about his work conference this weekend." Imagine my surprise when Lucas invited me instead. I stepped forward. "Everyone, this is Sarah, Ryan's wife. She'll be joining us tonight since Emily was so insistent on including Ryan in our wedding celebrations." My mom, bless her, immediately caught on. "Sarah, how lovely to meet you. Come sit by me." Emily's face was white. Ryan looked ready to crawl under the table. Dinner began. Barely. The air was so tense it could have cut glass. Sarah sat across from Emily, smiling politely like a lion in pearls. Emily tried to make small talk. "So, Sarah, how long have you and Ryan been married?" 3 years, Sarah said, sipping her wine. Though apparently I should ask you how long you've been texting my husband. Silverware clinked. Someone coughed. We're just friends, Emily blurted. Sarah raised an eyebrow and pulled out her phone. Friends who text at midnight? Friends who send shirtless selfies? Should I read them out loud? Ryan muttered, Sarah, please, not here. Not here, she laughed. Where then? At your fake work conference? Or maybe during one of your client dinners that Emily somehow always knew about? A groomsman whispered. Holy hell. Loud enough for everyone to hear. Emily turned to me, her eyes watering. Lucas, this is a misunderstanding. Is it? I said, is that why you lied about Sarah being overseas? Why you put Ryan at table 3? Why you invited him to the rehearsal dinner? Her voice cracked. You set me up. I leaned back. No, Emily, you set yourself up. I just made sure all the players showed up to the same stage. Emily's dad stood up, red-faced. What the hell is going on here? Sarah answered calmly. Your daughter's been having an emotional affair with my husband. Maybe physical too, who knows? But she invited him to her wedding while making sure I wouldn't be there. That's not true. Emily shouted. I held up my phone. Should I show everyone the messages? The ones where Ryan says, can't wait to see you in your dress. And you reply, it's bad luck for the groom to see it, but not for you. Emily's mom gasped. Her dad looked ready to explode. Ryan stood up. We're leaving. Sarah smirked. We? No, honey, you can leave. I'm staying for dinner. Then she turned to my mom and smiled. This salmon's amazing, by the way. My mom raised her glass. To honesty in relationships. Half the table drank. The other half sat in horrified silence. And that, as they say, was just the beginning. Emily's world cracked that night, and I swear you could hear the pieces hitting the floor. After Ryan fled like a guilty man in a courtroom, she turned to me, trembling, angry, humiliated, but not sorry. Not yet. How could you humiliate me like this? She hissed, voice trembling between rage and tears. How could I? I repeated quietly. You invited your ex to our wedding, Emily. What did you expect? Applause. It wasn't like that, she cried. We're just friends who happen to have history. That's all. Sarah laughed, low and sharp. History that's repeating itself, apparently. Emily's father finally spoke, his voice booming across the table. Emily, is this true? Have you been seeing this man? Dad, Lucas is blowing this out of proportion, she said quickly. He violated my privacy. He went through my messages. Because you lied. I interrupted. You said Sarah's name was Rebecca. You looked me in the eye and lied. Emily's brother, Jake, shook his head slowly. Emily, what the hell is wrong with you? Emily's face twisted. The calm, perfect, wedding planning fiancé was gone. What replaced her was raw, furious, desperate. You know what? Fine, she snapped. Yes, Ryan and I have been talking. Yes, I invited him. He was the one who got away, okay? I needed to see if I was making the right choice. The silence that followed was unreal. The restaurant's hum faded into nothing but the sound of her words echoing. Her father stood up so fast his chair clattered to the floor. You were going to decide at your wedding if you wanted to marry Lucas? I actually laughed. I couldn't help it. The absurdity was too much. Well, I said, that makes this easier. I reached into my jacket and pulled out an envelope. What's that? Emily asked, her voice shaking. My wedding gift. I handed it to her. Inside were copies of all the receipts and invoices, deposits of the venue, the caterer, the florist, the band. $18,000 worth of non-refundable payments. All in my name. Her father frowned and opened it, his face drained of color. I paid for all of this, I said simply. Every penny. So, since you and Ryan seem to need closure, consider the wedding canceled. If you'd like to reimburse me, the total's right there. Emily's mother gasped. Lucas, please. I turned to her gently. I tried, Mrs. Hall. I really did. Then Sarah stood up, slipping her phone into her clutch like a gunslinger holstering her weapon. Speaking of closure, she said sweetly, Ryan, expect to hear from my divorce attorney Monday. I'll be taking half of everything, including your precious boat. She turned to Emily. And you, sweetheart, you can have him when I'm done. Just make sure you have somewhere to live. He'll be homeless when I'm finished. The look on Emily's face was a cocktail of disbelief and devastation. Her mother was crying now. Her father was silent, furious, gripping the table like it was the only thing keeping him from lunging across it. And I felt calm, peaceful, even. Emily started crying, ugly, gasping sobs. Lucas, please. We can work this out. I choose you. I choose you, okay? I stared at her. You choose me after you got caught? Please, she whispered. We can fix this. Her sister, Emma, who'd been silent until now, spoke softly. Emily, you're an idiot. You had a good man, and you threw him away for a loser who cheats on his wife. What did you expect? Her mom snapped. Emma? No, Mom, Emma said sharply. You always defend her. Maybe it's time someone told her the truth. The table dissolved into chaos. Voices rose, tears spilled, chairs scraped. I stood there, oddly detached from it all, watching the wreckage unfold like it was someone else's life. Sarah caught my eye, smirked slightly, and mouthed, worth it. When I finally walked out of that restaurant, I swear I felt 10 pounds lighter. An hour later, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Emily. You ruined my life. I stared at it for a long moment before replying. No, you ruined your own life. I just refused to be collateral damage. Then I blocked her number. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. The next morning, she showed up at my apartment. She was holding flowers, my favorite kind, ironically, and wearing the lingerie I bought her for Valentine's Day. Her eyes were red, her smile trembling. Lucas, please, she said. Just let me in. We need to talk. There's nothing to talk about, I said, keeping my voice even. There is, she said desperately. I made a mistake. I'll cut Ryan off completely. I'll block him right now, look. She fumbled for her phone. Emily, I said, you used our wedding as a test run for your feelings. That's not a mistake. That's betrayal. It wasn't like that, she said, her voice cracking. I was confused. Confused? I stepped closer. You lied about his wife's name. That's not confusion. That's deception. Tears welled in her eyes. Please, Lucas, you can't just throw away 3 years. I sighed. I didn't. You did. The moment you invited him. She tried to push past me. We need to talk properly. I blocked the door. No, we don't. Lucas. Leave before I call security. For a moment, she just stood there, her breathing shallow. Then she dropped the flowers on the ground and walked away without another word. That was day 1. Day 2 was worse. I woke up to a flood of notifications, tags, messages, comments. Emily had gone nuclear on social media. She posted a long sob story about how I was controlling, jealous, emotionally abusive, and had ruined her wedding over an innocent friendship. Tagged me. Tagged our friends. Even used the wedding hashtag. For an hour, I didn't respond. I let the drama breathe. Then Sarah, absolute queen that she was, stepped in. Her comment appeared under Emily's post. Innocent friendship? Is that why you told him I was overseas while planning to seat my husband near your wedding table? Then she attached screenshots. Not all, just enough. Ryan, remember that weekend in wine country? Emily, best 48 hours ever. Dated 2 months ago. During a weekend, she'd told me she was at a work retreat. The internet doesn't forgive. Within minutes, Emily's victim narrative crumbled. Her comment section turned brutal. Girl, this isn't jealousy, it's karma. Imagine cheating and trying to play the victim. This man dodged a bullet. By noon, she deleted the post. But the damage was done. Her mother called me that night, voice trembling with forced composure. Lucas, the family is humiliated. Couldn't you have handled this privately? Privately? I said. She invited her ex to our wedding and lied about his wife. I tried handling it privately. She went public first. At least you could have spared her the scene, she said weakly. You mean like she spared me the humiliation of finding out after the wedding? Silence. Then quietly, the deposits, are they really in your name? Yes, all 18,000. Non-refundable. That's extortion. No, Linda. I said, that's consequences. 2 days later, the flying monkeys arrived. Her friends, her co-workers, even a couple of my own. They called, texted Med. Every message had the same tone. Pleading, rationalizing, guilt-tripping. She made a mistake, but she loves you. Sarah's probably exaggerating. All couples have problems. Don't throw away the wedding. I sent them all the same reply. She invited her ex, the one she's been emotionally cheating with, to our wedding and lied about his wife. Would you marry someone who did that? Most of them stopped responding after that. A few even texted back. Fair. A week later, Emily's father called me. Lucas, he said, voice low, I need the vendor contacts. Why? He sighed. Emily wants to cancel everything. We'll reimburse you for the deposits. All of it? Yes, all 18,000. I emailed in the itemized list. 48 hours later, I had a check. Guess they wanted to keep the embarrassment contained. Meanwhile, Sarah was moving fast. Divorce papers filed, lawyered up, cutting through Ryan like a hot knife through butter. She found credit card receipts, hotels, dinners, 2 plates instead of 1, a second phone hidden in his car. And the kicker? A draft email. It was titled, If anyone objects. He'd been planning to object at my wedding. Sarah sent me screenshots. Thought you want to see what you avoided, she wrote. The email was clear. If you give me the signal during the ceremony, I'll stand up. We can run away together. Emily's response? That's so romantic. But let me see how I feel in the moment. She was literally going to decide at the altar whether to marry me or run off with him. I forwarded the screenshots to her with one line. You're a sociopath. Her reply was a 2,000-word essay about true love, soulmates, and how I was too safe, too boring, too predictable, that she only said yes to me because she needed stability. I forwarded it to her dad. He wrote back, Jesus Christ. The day that would have been our wedding, I went golfing with my groomsmen. Perfect weather, perfect silence. That night, we had dinner at the expensive steakhouse Emily always said was too much. Halfway through, my friend Kyle showed me his phone. Dude, you need to see this. Emily had posted photos. In her wedding dress. At our venue. Alone. Captions like the wedding that should have been. And true love means forgiveness. The comments were merciless. Girl, this is unhinged. Didn't you cheat on him? This is embarrassing. Delete this. Even her own sister commented, Emily, stop. You're humiliating yourself. The final comment, though, that was Sarah. Same dress you planned to wear while deciding between your fiancé and my husband. Classy. By the next morning, Emily's accounts were gone. 3 months later, life was better than ever. Emily was back living with her parents, posting cryptic quotes about surviving narcissistic abuse that got maybe 3 likes. Ryan lost his house, half his 401k, and the boat, living in a studio apartment. Sarah, thriving, promoted, bought out his half of the house, dating a doctor. She sent me a photo holding the boat keys with the caption, thanks for the wake-up call. As for me, I took the deposit money and flew to Europe. In Italy, I met Claire at a cooking class. She laughed until she cried when I told her the story on our 3rd date. We've been together ever since. Every Christmas, I still get a card from Emily's dad. The last one said, thank you for showing us who she really was before more damage was done. Her mom still likes my photos from her craft business account. Probably forgets I can see it. Last week, I got one final text from Emily. I heard you're dating someone. I hope you're happy. I didn't respond, but I am happy. Happy I trusted my gut. Happy I called Sarah. Happy I didn't marry someone who used our wedding as a test drive. Because if someone shows you who they are, believe them. And if they invite their ex to your wedding, invite their spouse. The truth always finds its way to dinner. After Italy, the world felt quieter. Or maybe I just stopped chasing the noise. For the first time in years, I wasn't checking my phone every few minutes, waiting for the next fight disguised as a conversation. I wasn't second-guessing every word, every glance, every sigh that used to trigger an argument I didn't see coming. Emily had trained me well, to walk on eggshells, to question peace like it was a trap. But Europe changed that. Claire changed that. We met in Florence, in a kitchen that smelled like garlic and burnt bread. She was running late to class, stumbled in with flour on her nose, and made the entire room laugh when she burned her first batch of pasta. She didn't apologize. She owned it. It was refreshing. When she asked what brought me to Italy, I just said, a canceled wedding. It was a Saturday morning when I saw her again. Not online, not in a picture, in person. I was at a charity tech event downtown, helping sponsor youth coding workshop. Claire was there too, chatted with a group of kids who were showing her their game prototypes. I was grabbing coffee when I heard a voice behind me. Soft, uncertain, but painfully familiar. Lucas. I turned. Emily. She looked older, not in the way time makes you older, but in the way regret does. Her once perfect hair was shorter, darker. No makeup, just tired eyes that told stories words couldn't. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The world felt like it had gone quiet again, just like the night I walked out of that restaurant. Then she gave a small, nervous smile. Hey! Hey, I said. You look good, she offered. So do. I lied politely. She glanced down at her coffee cup. I didn't expect to see you here. Same. We stood there, strangers who used to plan forever. Finally, she said, I've been meaning to reach out, but figured you wouldn't want to hear from me. You figured right. That made her laugh softly, the same laugh she used when she was trying to hide pain. Fair enough. After a pause, she added, I just want to say thank you for not marrying me, for saving us both from worse. That threw me off. You're thanking me? She nodded slowly. Therapy helped. I know I was toxic. I know I hurt you. I kept chasing validation like it was air, and you were just, she hesitated, steady, and steady scared me. It felt like stillness, and I mistook that for boredom. Turns out it was peace. I didn't know how to exist in peace. I didn't interrupt her. I let her speak because she never really did before. I'm working on myself, she continued. It's slow. Some days I think I've healed, then something reminds me of you, and I realize I'm not there yet. But I will be. She smiled faintly. You deserve to know that I finally understand what I lost. I wanted to feel anger, bitterness, vindication. But instead, I just felt done. That's good, I said quietly. I'm glad you're getting help. She nodded, wiping at her eyes. Is that her? I turned. Claire was laughing with one of the volunteers, radiant as sunlight. Yeah, I said, smiling. That's her. She seems kind. She is. Emily nodded again, and for the first time, there wasn't jealousy in her face. Just acceptance. She's lucky, Emily whispered. You always loved hard. She's lucky, I said, because she loves honestly. Emily's eyes glistened. She nodded once, then stepped back. I hope you're happy, Lucas. I am. And for the first time, I could say it without hesitation. She smiled, a real one, small but genuine, then turned and walked away. No drama, no tears, no grand apology or second chance. Just quiet closure between two people who had finally stopped bleeding. Later that night, Claire asked about her. She looked familiar, she said carefully. Was that? Yeah, I said. That was her. Claire just nodded. You okay? I am, I said, smiling softly. Actually, I think I've never been better. She leaned her head on my shoulder. Good, because you deserve peace. Peace. It used to sound like something boring. Now, it felt like the most beautiful thing I'd ever earned. 2 months later, I got an invitation, not from Emily, but from her father. A small card, handwritten again. Lucas. Emily's finishing her degree and wants to start a new life abroad. Before she leaves, She asked us to host a small dinner to make amends with everyone she's hurt. She understands if you can't come, but she wanted me to extend the invitation. I stared at it for a long time. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but something in me, not vengeance, not curiosity, just closure, told me to go. When I arrived, the house felt different, warmer, quieter. Emily greeted me at the door. "You came." "I figured it was time," I said. She nodded, stepping aside. "Thank you." Inside, I saw familiar faces, her parents, her siblings, a few old friends. It wasn't awkward. It was almost peaceful. During dinner, Emily stood up to make a short speech. Her voice trembled, but she didn't shy away. "I've done a lot of damage in my life," she began. "To myself, to others, to the people who love me most. I can't undo it, but I can own it. And I can say thank you to the ones who walked away instead of trying to fix me when I was determined to stay broken." Her eyes met mine briefly. "Lucas, you were one of them. You deserve better. I see that now." There was no applause, just quiet respect. After dinner, I walked out into the garden for air. Emily joined me. "Thank you for coming," she said softly. "It means more than you know. Thank you for saying what needed to be said." I replied. She smiled faintly. "You know, for a long time, I thought revenge was about hurting someone back. But it's really just about healing yourself enough that their hurt doesn't reach you anymore." I raised an eyebrow. "Been listening to Sarah's podcast?" That made her laugh. "Maybe." She looked up at the sky. "I'm leaving for Lisbon next week. Starting over. No social media. No noise." "That sounds good," I said. She nodded. "It does. Goodbye, Lucas." "Goodbye, Emily." She turned and walked back inside, and I realized that was the real revenge. Not the public humiliation. Not the canceled wedding. Not even the karma that stripped her pride away. It was peace. Peace she had to fight years to find. Peace I'd already found. Months later, I sat at a cafe in Lisbon with Claire. We were traveling again, this time together. The sun hit the table just right. Claire was reading, I was sketching designs for a new app, and everything just fit. At the next table, a couple was arguing quietly. The woman's tone, sharp and impatient, reminded me of another time, another life. Claire glanced up at me. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said, smiling. "Just thinking how far we've come." She reached across the table and squeezed my hand, then stopped thinking and enjoy it. I did, because for the first time, love didn't feel like walking on eggshells. It felt like breathing. A year later, Sarah invited us to her wedding. Different man, different energy. A man who looked at her like she was a miracle, not a possession. When she walked down the aisle, she winked at me mid-step, a private nod between survivors. At the reception, she raised a glass. "To second chances," she said, "and to the people who showed us our first ones weren't worth keeping." Everyone laughed, but we knew what it really meant. When the night ended, she hugged me and whispered, "Told you karma keeps receipts." I don't think about Emily much anymore. Sometimes her name comes up in conversation, usually by accident. "Oh, weren't you supposed to get married once?" someone might ask. I smile. "Yeah, best thing that never happened." Because that's the truth. The best revenge isn't destroying someone. It's rebuilding yourself so completely that their absence feels like freedom. It's waking up next to peace and realizing chaos doesn't live here anymore. It's knowing that the person who tried to break you only built a stronger version of you instead. That's the real win. So if you ever find yourself where I was, standing in the ruins of something that should have been love, remember this. You don't owe your pain to anyone. You don't owe forgiveness to a liar. You don't owe closure to a ghost. Sometimes silence is a punishment. And sometimes living well is the loudest "I told you so" the world will ever hear. Because in the end, peace doesn't need an audience. It just needs you.